Hey, cellists! Today we're going to talk briefly about setting up your cello properly. This is mainly for beginners, but it's an excellent just refresh, especially after the summer. So many times over the summer we kind of slack off a little bit, and some people don't practice as much, and then comes the fall and we've kind of forgotten how to do things and double check things. So I just want to go over some of the main key points on how to set up your proper posture with cello and with the bow. So the first thing on the cello, this is what makes the cello so unique, is this end pin. Now everybody has a slightly different kind of an end pin. So some of you may have it really, really stuck in there. Others of you, it's really loose. So you'll have to kind of get used to how tight or how loose your end pin is to make sure that when you get it adjusted to your length, that it's not sliding around. A good indicator to start at least on where your end pin should go is if you have your cello standing upright and you stand next to it, the top of the scroll should be about at the level of your nose. Now this I say is just a starting spot because some people have a longer torso and they may need the end pin out just a little bit longer. So if they were to stand up, it might go somewhere in their forehead. But especially those of you who are on a half size or a 3/4 size cello, the nose is a really, really, really good spot to start. And the nose, I mean your tip of your nose, not like up here on your nose. Okay, so get it to the tip of your nose, and that's a good starting spot. You need to be sitting at the very front of your chair. So if you're at home, make sure you have a good solid chair. You don't want to be in a stool or in something where you can't reach your feet on the floor. So you want to be at the front of your chair, so the front half. Your feet are going to be flat on the floor, and the cello is going to sit perfectly between your legs. When it's centered, the neck is going to be off onto the left-hand side, and this C peg, this is the one that's lowest on the instrument, is going to be right behind your ear. So you can see here, it goes right next to my ear, and that means that it's at a perfect height. So once you start and you got it to your nose level and you sit down, you can check, is my ear going to touch the C string if I kind of turn to the side? If no, if it's really low and it kind of hits your chin, then just extend it a little bit more, okay? All right, so next thing, once we've got the cello situated in front of us, just make sure that the cello has a small angle going out. You don't want the cello to be standing upright because you're going to be kind of taken over by the instrument. You don't have a good way to grip it. So you want it so that that C peg, like I said, is behind your ear. And then this top part of the cello, this top part is going to be touching right about at the middle of your chest, right on that bone that goes down the middle. Okay, so kind of use that as a guide to check where it's hitting on your chest and your C peg. Many students, especially after the summer, they like to have their end pin out really far. And then what happens is that the cello that where it touches your chest is really low. You can't really see it on this image, but it's right about here where it's touching. And then the scroll is touching my shoulder. So we need to pull that up so that is out of the way. All right, so now I got my cello situated, so let's check out the bow. For the bow, make sure that you have just about a pinky's width in the middle of the bow. So between the stick and the hair, it should be just about your pinky that fits through. You're going to curve your hands like this so it forms like a C shape. And your thumb is going to go right at the tip of the frog. There's a little space between the frog where it begins and then also where this grip or the winding is. There's a little space that's a little bit empty. And that's where your thumb is going to go. And you're not going to have it sticking through, but just have the tip of it touching. The rest of your fingers, this is where it gets easy. You have the easiest bow hold. You just flop down your fingers, okay? You don't need to do anything weird or touching anything. Just flop them down where they feel natural. If you have a little dot on your frog, it looks like the eye for your frog, that's a great spot to try and shoot for having your pinky, the center of your pinky kind of touching in there. Many cellists like to have their pinky start falling backwards when they pull their wrist down, and then their pinky starts sitting on the top. So if you have that, or you can even add your own little tiny dot sticker if you don't have one for a guide, aim for that pinky there, okay, thumb, and flop over, okay? And that is the basic setup for your bow. Now, once your bow is on the string, you're going to want to play. So let's double check that our hand over here is ready to go. So your thumb is going to go behind the neck, and the pad of your thumb is going to be centered between your first finger tape and your third finger tape. And it needs to be there to help balance your hand. When you start making different motions and learning different notes, your hand really needs to be balanced. And when you start moving it to different locations, your hand becomes imbalanced and it really starts to hurt your hand, and your intonation starts to suffer. So make sure it's behind your second finger, and your elbow is going to be going out. Notice that my elbow is in alignment with my wrist. It is not bending like this, and it's not overdoing it like this. So everything is in a line. One great way to remember this is a good kind of an analogy almost, is imagine that you're hugging your cello, okay? You're hugging your cello. This arm height is perfect, okay? Because when you hug somebody or you hug your cello, everything is connected. If you are practicing and you go like this, okay, where your elbow drops or your wrist drops or something gets weird here, that'd be the same as if you're trying to hug somebody like this. It's super awkward, okay? So make sure that this is all in alignment, okay, and that this is at a good hugging height, okay, that I can just wrap my arms around the cello and I can give it a hug. All right, so double check thumb, wrist, and elbow. Bow hold with your thumb in the back, okay? And that pinky, let's see if you can see it, that pinky is on that dot, the rest of the fingers kind of flop over, okay? And that the C peg is right behind your ear, and the level of the cello touching your body is near in the middle of your chest. You're at the front of your chair, your feet are flat, the cello is centered, everything is peachy keen. Okay, so I hope that helps with getting you started if you're a beginner, and good review for those of you who maybe need a little refresher after a long summer. But if you have any questions or any of this when you try it out feels just strange or you need some double checking, please make sure to ask either myself or any of your other teachers or lesson teachers that you have to make sure that you've got a good proper setup. Setup is super important to make sure that you've got down right away, so that when we start moving on to more advanced techniques, you're all set to go. This is really the foundation of all playing. So I hope this was a helpful video, and I'll see you soon in class.